Okay.
Yeah.
So what got you into prison ministry?
Yeah, so I actually got into prison ministry before youth ministry.
Okay.
And so it's kind of another funny story.
Yeah.
So like a lot of people are like, what can you do like when you turn 18? Like you can do whatever the heck you want, right? And like a lot of people are like, oh, I'm gonna go smoke cigarettes, or like, you know, nowadays I guess Juul, right?
Yeah.
Vape, whatever. I'm not that trendy.
Vape.
But like they kind of want to rebel in some way. So I saw a flyer for prison ministry when I was in high school here in Georgia. I told my mom, like, oh, I don't want to do that. And I was 18 when I was
Why?
a senior. I've always been fascinated by the criminal mind, which is, like, it's so dark. It's so dark. But, like, so my girlfriend, my fiance, gotta get that right. My fiance came over last night.
Edit that out.
Yeah, please do. At least send her the edited version. Everyone else can have the real version.
Yeah.
So my fiance was over last night, and we were watching Netflix. Literally, no lie. It was like crime shows. This is my, because it does like your life. It was like
page.
Crime shows, dark comedies. It was like crime documentaries.
Yeah.
It was like Netflix originals on crime, and then it was like little kid movies, because she'll watch like the Pixar movies, and that was it. There was like wasn't even like sports, because like I'll just throw on my cable and watch I'll watch ESPN or whatever. So I don't really use Netflix for things like that. And so it's literally just crime stuff. So it's always been something that's interested me. I've always been somebody who the idea of second chances and forgiveness was important to me. So I thought, man, it would be pretty cool to go into prison, see what it's actually like, and like give those people a second chance. And so I talked to my mom, and she's like, no, like it's not safe, basically, as a senior in high school. And so in my church in Georgia, you had to be 18 to go. When I moved to Kansas, you had to be 21. Well, I was like, I really want to go. So I actually talked to the guy who was in charge of the ministry, who was a former professor at the university I worked at.
Yeah.
And we wrote a letter to the warden, and he approved me to come in. So I had to go through a prison staff training, and then I would go in weekly and rotate through minimum, medium, and maximum security prisons, and run Bible studies based off of the Sunday readings.
Yeah.
And I loved it. It's still, probably to this day, my favorite ministry I've ever done.
And what was that like when you were in there with like those guys?
Yeah.
Who've done?
It's crazy.
Yeah.
Like you go in and once you're in medium and maximum, those are crimes against other people. So you're talking about murderers, rapists, child molesters, like everything. And so the big thing they say is like, don't ask them what they did, like, because it doesn't really matter, because that's not why we're there. We're there kind of preaching the forgiveness, the gospel, and then also it can cloud your vision of them, right? Like, even if I say like, oh, I'm not going to judge Chris, whatever you tell me, but you're like, oh, I killed 3 people, I'm going to be like, hey, like,
tell me about that.
Like, I'm going to scoot over here, you know? And so like, you don't want to be clouded in how you view somebody, so you don't really ask. But what's the beautiful thing about that ministry, more so than any other ministry I've ever been in, which is why I loved it, is the sheer presence. So let's say you come with me, and you're scared to death, and you have nothing to say.
Yeah.
And I lead the whole Bible study, I ask, hey, what do you think of this? What do you think of that? And you, as Chris, never say anything. But once we're about to leave, they will thank you. Because a lot of them, their family's given up on them, their friends have given up, so they have no one. So the fact that you even came, and you had other things to do, they're like, wow. And then for me, even more so, like as a student athlete, like wow, you're like a college student, you're a football player, like there's so many other things you could be doing, but like you're coming to see us, and that means like everything.
Yeah.
And when you see true conversion, it's incredible, because you will see, and I mean just like any ministry, but I think it's a little bit heightened in the prison, you'll see kind of like fake conversion, right? You see like, oh, like I love the Lord, but there's no fruits of it, you know? They don't seem to be living that life. But when you see like a murderer actually have his heart changed, that's powerful. Like, dang, like the Lord's, he really is still working every day. So it was just a phenomenal experience. It was always different. I had to I did everything from like hugging guys who were crying in the prison to like I had to get stern with a couple of guys. Like there's a guy I had to get stern with in a maximum security prison once. That was interesting.
Yeah.
And
like what? Like you better sit down. Like I mean,
so
what do you say?
No, yeah. So basically, what had happened was we would go with my first university was founded by the Sisters of Charity of Leavenworth, Kansas, and so it was religious sisters, and so they wouldn't wear habits. Most of them were older, but there was people connected with the university. So we had some women who would come in with us to the all men's prison, but it would primarily be older women and maybe people that our society as a whole wouldn't say like, oh, I'm so attracted to somebody. But when you're in a prison, there's no females at all.
Yeah.
So even like a female who is just that a woman, they're gonna hit on it, and they don't care if you're a sister. They don't care, especially they didn't wear habits. So like the average. So there was this woman who would come in. She's in her mid-40s, and she was telling me that this older man who would basically he would try to get really close to her, made her uncomfortable. And he had never groped her, but he had kind of made uncomfortable contact with her. And so she was like, yeah, this has been a problem. So I was like, all right, I'll handle it basically. And so we were going into the maximum security, which is definitely the most intense. And I saw him coming through the hall, and he was walking towards her, and I put my arm around him. I was like, hey, why don't you come with me?
Yeah.
So we walked over to the side.
Go this way.
And I was like, so I heard this is a problem. And I'm like, is this going to continue to be a problem? Is this a problem that you're going to have with me right now? Or are we not going to have a problem with it anymore? And he's like, oh, I mean, and I was like, I'm not going to hear about this ever again, am I? No, sir, right? And as a volunteer, I still volunteer staff. So if he were to hit me or any of the other inmates were to hit me, it's actually assault on a police officer, which when you're in prison, that's going to catch you at least an extra 5 years. So even if he was felt insulted by me or something, he's not going to just hit me. Unless he's really crazy, which I mean, there was a few who, there was a guy in our group who had been in solitary confinement for 11 years. So there's quite a lot going on there. But yes, I had to do some disciplining. She never had a problem with him again. What was really crazy, I think, was in the medium security, because those are offenders, again, murders, rapists, all that kind of stuff, but they've had good behavior. So it's the same people who would be in max, but they've been in there maybe 5-10 years and have been good. So they have more freedom. So in the movies you see them working out. So they really have that. It's called the yard. It's this outside space. And I'd have to walk through that to get to Bible study. So in maximum, it's a lot more they're a lot more restricted to their room. You kind of have a hallway you go through, and you interact with people, but it's very controlled.
Open this door, lock it, go to the next door.
But in medium, it's they can, it's a confined space, but let's just say it's a Walmart, open area. They can walk around that whole Walmart. The Walmart's locked down, so the whole thing is locked down, so they can only go to maybe their cell, to the cafeteria, to the yard. But when it's time to free time, so to speak, they can be wherever. So I remember one time, I don't know why they allowed this to happen, but the old guy who ran it, he was just so nice. So you let a 19-year-old college student, a female college student who wanted to come see what prison ministry was, come. So we were going into medium security that week. So I had to walk her through the yard. So she's 5 foot, cute blonde girl. 19. And there's probably 200 guys working out in the yard. And I'm talking swole, you know what I mean? These prison guys. And we gotta walk, 200 feet across to get to the Bible study. And the only thing between her and them is me. And the guys up top who's got the guns, walking. And I was just man, we're both about to get violated.
Walk faster.
I'm thinking I'm a tough football player. I can probably handle one. I go crazy mode, maybe two. There's 200. So I'm if they actually want to try something, I'm we're both done. And luckily we're good, but it was a pretty cool experience. And like I said, the guys loved it. Got a lot out of it, and like I said, I got a lot out of it.